Good morning to day 21. Guys are here, it's 8 AM dead. Site manager's been on site this morning and circled a few things. Circled 4 corners, I'm not too sure why. So, not too sure why, but yeah, 4 circles. I'm sure that's going to mean something. I don't know what that means. But yeah, so the plan today, hopefully, is to speak to the site manager in a minute and find out obviously what's going on with regards to the steel guys arriving to start manufacturing the baskets. As I said in my previous videos, the biggest problem is trying to make sure that that steel is carried out, manufactured and put back again, because we can't have it in the sun and salt air because it kills it apparently. So this is what the site manager's been here and done. So there's a nail with a bit of tape and a circle, which I'm sure is a method to the madness there somewhere. That must be the actual line itself that we're aiming for. So we're quite a way off. There's the corner of the tape, and that's where he's put the nail. So I'm not too sure what that means. So climb over the lines. Only seems to be on the 4 corners, but obviously that's the 4 corners of the building itself, I assume. And what I don't quite understand is why this always lands up being something the surveyor's meant to be doing, but then the site manager turns up and does it. Again, same thing here. We haven't actually done this corner yet, but this is very, very similar. Again, tape, nail, circle. So I'm assuming our tape, our little cord here, look, has got to be in line with that, I'm assuming. But anyway, I'll talk to the guys and find out whether that's what it actually means. I'm in learning mode here, obviously, so as and when things are happening, I'm learning. So, questions today. Contact with the site manager to find out whether it is going to be getting the guys out to do the steel. Wanting to get a bit of a project plan update with him as well, so I can control cost and duration and people. So we seem to be sort of running a bit blind at the moment. So other than that, it's a little bit cloudy, which hopefully it can stay like it, because it does keep the sun off of you. And obviously I'll update you throughout the day. So okay, so it's 20 to 1. Project manager's been on site, gone through a few bits and bobs. They've remarked out where they've got issues with rise and they're having to dig out, measure in the first place. It's now 5 inches too high, so they're having to dig out the actual crop that the formwork needs to sit in, so we can sit where the level it needs to be. So I'll show you, as we said yesterday, all the actual lines have been pulled all the way along. All of it's been set out now, and then they can measure from those lines down to the floor, and that basically is showing a 5-inch height ramping up from here all the way to that corner. So something majorly forgotten, unfortunately. That now means can going up all the stuff we bloody did and redoing it again, because people don't pay attention. Anyway, the project manager's actually gone to get them some ice. Shit me, iced water. Next, anyway, so there's the first bit of formwork coming out. So the carpenter has actually been setting out all the lines. Again, he's putting that in place there like that. So technically it's got to be done all the way around, and as you can see over there in the cream container, the steel fixers are now there getting ready to put the rebar together as well. So I'm going to try my hardest to steer clear of them, because I'm going to be asking them to put it away too often and they're going to get shitty about it. But the fact of the matter is, it can't be left out. If it's left out, it will rust, and if it rusts, it's going to go into the actual cement like that. These were made up yesterday. So they literally twist this wire, they cut it into I think it's like a 6 to 8 inch length, and they twist it around a nail. And that technically, as far as I'm aware, keeps the rebar off the floor. So technically you put those on the floor and then tie the rebar to those bits of cable, which helps keep the rebar off the floor and enables the concrete to then not having a 2 to 3 inch gap underneath it to stop it being too close to the surface, because the salt air penetrates the actual surface with air and lands up blowing it. So yeah, that's the reason why they're made. I can't remember what they're called. I'm sure it'll come to my mind at some stage. But yeah, so they're technically, as far as I'm aware, ready to go in. So they'll be laid down once the actual baskets are made, and the baskets will go on top of those and they'll be tied to the baskets. If that makes any sense. So yeah, that's pretty much where we are with everything at the moment. Hopefully the baskets will be made in the next whatever time. They're going to go straight back into the container, and then they're going to be laid out and they're ready to pour. So I think the concrete goes into this, I think it's 10 inch. I've been talking rubbish. Anyway, they get full of concrete. That then's the footings. And then what they are meant to actually then fill from that across here with more marl, which I said, please, no more marl. 1, it's cost, 2, it's dust, 3, it's mess. But on top of that also, it means we're going to go up by another 2, 3, 4, 5 inch, which is another set of space we're losing in the basement, which is absolutely mental. So I've asked him to speak to the engineer about whether we can actually go straight down on here, which I assume we can. So I'll see what he says, basically. But I'm waiting for him to come back. Other than that, it's all pretty much as is, as the site engineer gets a shout saying he's got a flat tyre. Not good. That would just about finish his day off. Welcome to my world. Okay, so we're at 20 to 5. It's like something out of Mission Impossible, going through all of these deadly cables and whatever else. So the guys have pretty much finished the day. The rebar guys have done their bit and put whatever they've done in the container. The corners are now starting to come together. In fact, let me spin around, it's easier. So technically they obviously make these boxes, and then technically what we're doing is they're making the footings template, basically. So it will be in half. So this half will be boxed out all the way around to here, and this will be pulled first, and then everything will be taken apart, and that will then be moved over the other side, and the same happens again. The biggest issue they've had to contend with today, as we talked about earlier, is this corner being too high. So they've had to kango all of this out, and that's technically landed up getting us now to where we need to be. See how much further we can go out, and they've still got to do down to here as well, as far as I'm aware. So that's got to be dealt with. And then technically this corner has all got to come out as well, because the concrete's going to go down and that will eat into the slab depth that we need. So they're going to have to take all of that out as well. So that's going to be something we're going to have to do tomorrow. Now, I've also got to talk to the engineer about what we do for the central support. So technically the middle of the house, which is where I am now, that's meant to have a beam, a wall going all the way through the middle, which is going to split the basement into 2, which I don't want to do, obviously. So there must be a way of actually doing some form of columns and some support, so we don't have to have a block wall all the way through the middle of the basement. So then we'll have two rooms, which just seems madness. So anyway, I'm going to talk to the engineer about that in a minute if I can get hold of him. And then the guys obviously tomorrow are going to try and finish off making the boxes and getting this set out, and then we're going to be ready for the rebar guys to put the rebar into the box. So they're technically making cages, metal cages. They'll use those little concrete blocks that I showed you earlier, and that will help the cages stay off the floor, and they will be put all in here, obviously when all the boxing's done, and obviously then the concrete guys will come in Monday and pour. So that's the plan. So still quite a bit to do. This is technically where supporting columns are going to go. We've got one there in between a set of bifolds there, one column there in a set of bifolds there, another column which goes in between another set of bifolds. So technically 4 sets of bifolds, 1 there and 3 along there. And that's obviously what's going to be facing towards the beach. So anyway, that's pretty much where we are for now. Weather is obviously nice today because it's been overcast. It keeps the heat off a little bit, and it did have a little bit of a rain. But we're technically done for day 20. So over and out. See you tomorrow.